Hello there, welcome back to Tubi Tuesday, and we're looking at Shriek. If you know what I did last Friday the 13th, so I saw this years ago, and I've wanted to cover it. One of those things where you watch a movie when you're younger. There's really a theme here because this is two movies in a row that went down for me. This much worse than um, Kicking It Old School. This is a parody movie that was made and made before Scary Movie, but came out the same year. It doesn't get the same notoriety, and it that's fine because it's not that good. It's basically takes what Scary Movie did, where it parodies Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer with some other things, namely stuff connected to Kevin Williamson, like Dawson Creek or Teaching Mrs. Tingle. In fact, there's a character played by the late Rosemary from Dick Van Dyke Show named Mrs. Tingle. Yeah. But, yeah, the plot, if you can call it that, surrounds a group of 5 students who, I will talk about the names in it, who each receive messages from an unnamed killer telling them, I know what you did last Friday the 13th, Hanukkah, whatever. And so now the killer is out to get them for some reason. The biggest problem I have with this is that, so it's a parody movie, so you're not supposed to take anything seriously. However, there are some parody movies, that are also grounded in their execution. The scary movies, you could say that while it is leading to a joke, there is some seriousness in it. There is always, like with Scary Movie, the first one, it's parodying Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, and there's jokes thrown out throughout it, but it's a plot that kind of leads you towards a conclusion. This has a conclusion, but everything is a joke. There's a punchline. Everything that they do, there's a punchline. This may be iffy at best. The killer never actually kills anyone personally. I know there are several times that he's trying to kill people in the background, but as far as major kills of major characters, every single one of their deaths is an accident. I felt, because this was ended up being on a DV, was it USA Network or something? This ended up being developed for TV instead of theater. And it shows there's like one F-bomb in this, and there's no nudity. There's a bunch of sex jokes, but you never see anything really. I don't know. But we start off, of course, with what these would start off with, parodying Scream. We get they parody to Drew Barrymore's character from the movie, Screw from Behind. I never said this was high quality. She is washing strawberries because popcorn is parodied too much. When she gets a call from the killer, it's the killer. That's what he says, and and they're talking, and it's, they don't do the Scary Movie quiz. He gives her basic math, and she's like, math, I suck at math. And then we hear him fall in the pool, but then he just appears. This is how seriously they're taking this. He falls in the pool and then appears in a cake from behind her and chases her. And I'm watching this, and I immediately start, I don't know how many times that I just went, because they start chasing each other, but he starts chasing her, but he's chasing her around the kitchen island in a circle. And I'm like, turn around and go the other way, you'll run into her and stab her. No, they're going, by the way, the killer is also wearing a hockey mask similar to that on the cover of Friday the 13th Part 5. Not the Ghostface mask. We'll get to that. Then someone calls, and then she's on the phone. He's like, I'm not doing anything. And he's like, So she starts running. She runs out this time and runs outside and goes face first into a bug zapper. And she's dead. Although they later, when they talk about it, they name like 6 different ways she was killed. I don't know. The killer goes to light a cigarette with the mask still on, and it burns and melts the mask to look like a ghost face, but not really a ghost face. Although there are drawings of the killer that look very much like Ghostface later. But no, then we're introduced to our school, Bulimia Falls High School. And our main character, new student, Dawson Deary. I don't want to wait for our lives to be over. Yet it's clearly parodying Dawson Leary. But also, if you're looking at a horror movie, new kid shows up to a school where horrible things happen. That's behavior, whatever it's called, disturbing behavior. He even goes for the goth girl like in that movie. So I don't know, but that's never mentioned in any of the parodies that I see. So we also are just introduced to our other main characters right here in the admissions office. We get Boner. It's pronounced Bonner. Played by Danny Strong, who you may know as one of the nerds from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He's been in other things too. Barbara, prime suspect. We'll get to the name. Who is Julie Benz, also from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And then we meet Martina Martinez, who's not Mexican, but she's the main love interest. And then Simon Rex playing Slab O Beef. They didn't even try with that name. Like, what's a funny name? Slab O Beef. Beef. Yeah, and he's the new kid. They all make fun of him. This is where I was really going. Because the running joke is that they treat the new kid like shit. So every time they say, hi, new kid, he gets punched or hit or something. And then the joke that almost made me turn it off, they introduced the principal interest. Or the administrator formerly known as principal. It's Coolio dressed like Prince. I forgot about this, but I was like, what? Why are we doing this? And despite the fact that they just met Dawson, they all just start hanging out together. Yeah. We were introduced to news reporter Hagatha Utsley, and yes, that is Slut in Pig Latin, who's played by Tiffany Amber Thiessen. And she is on this... She is basically Gail Weathers, and she's following up on the report. Well, she works for MTV, MTV, like MTV. And she is following this news report of the kid, the teenager that was killed. We also meet Officer Doey, prime suspect, played by Tom Arnold, who is Barbara's brother, but they're like, I don't know. Tom Arnold had to be at least 40 here. I'd say they're at least 15 years apart, which my brother and I are 11 years apart, but they're at least 20 years apart. At least I could believe David Arquette and Rose McGowan could be related. They had a little argument like in the thing, and he's apparently just a food court cop, a mall cop, but because the stuff to make the suit, the killer outfit was taken from the mall, he has jurisdiction for some reason. And he never does shit in trying to solve this mystery. All of his scenes are confined to gags with him and Hagatha. That's it. Like, There's a guy where she's smoking. She puts a cigarette out with her foot, so he does the same thing with his ice cream cone. They play strip poker later, and I don't know. Oh, and Bonner. By the way, it's spelled like boner, so no, it's not pronounced boner. But anyway, has a running catchphrase. I'll never get laid. That's his catchphrase. And the one joke that actually gets a climax, and yes, that is on purpose, that actually gets an end to, that works. So, for signs that they're not taking this seriously, besides everything that's been happening so far, we start everyone gets a note saying, I know what you did last, whatever. Martina is first, and we find out that the car accident from I Know What You Did Last Summer is not the thing, because she was supposed to give her grandma X-Lax, or Z-Lax, whatever it's called, but didn't. And by the way, in the shot where they show her going, she grabs her keys but leaves the Z-Lax there. But after they hit the deer, yeah, we'll get to that. After they hit the deer, and also this is the only one that's actually done normal, for some reason. All the other ones are exaggerated, but like, I guess because they wanted to change it so it's not the same. I don't know. But like, they're like, they hit the deer, and they're like, won't tell anyone about this. But you hit a deer, you didn't hit a person. And then she looks down at the Z-Lax that she now has on her person, the fact that she left it there. Yes, we will not tell anyone. Yeah. So apparently her secret is that he wasn't able to give the Z-Lax to her grandma, so her grandma had a hard time going poop. I don't know. In this exaggerated movie, she probably exploded. I don't know. And then Boner gets one after swim class with Coach Artie Lang, or gym teacher Artie Lang, playing Mr. Hasselhoff, because it's a swim class. And they're teaching CPR, and Boner gets a boner, and everyone laughs at him. But, I'm sorry, you think the ladies in the class would see that, because it's a prominent, like you see it through the pants or whatever. It's a decent size. You think the ladies wouldn't laugh at him, but they laugh, hey, good boner. And he passes out and wakes up with a note saying, I know what you did last, whatever. And his secret is that he did something. I don't know what the hell it was. All of a sudden he's like, like I said, they exaggerate. So he's in the car with them, and he's oh yes, very, like all the girls want him. And I'm like, but this is a personal flashback. We're not telling this to anyone. It's not like one of those episodes of TV where they exaggerate what happened. It makes no sense. Oh, his brother has an important note for the governor. His brother's in prison. An important note for the governor, or he's going to die on death row. He's going to get the gas. And Bonner forgot to send a note to the governor. So after they hit the deer, you're wondering, why do you keep doing that when you say deer? We'll get to it. Yes, we will not, yeah. Whatever. Barbara gets a note, and it says, I know what you did last, whatever. And hers was, while she was having sex, because she's a whore, you see. Despite the fact that later they claim that she was gay, but it's supposed to be a joke, because the whole running thing with Martina is that she's a lesbian. Because she plays softball, she wears certain clothes, she acts a certain way, and she's like, no, I'm not gay. Barbara's gay. And I'm like, that joke doesn't work, because you already had the running joke with Barbara that she's a whore. With guys. There's a whole joke where she's with Nurse Kevorkian, yes, who tells her that she has chlamydia and gonorrhea and herpes. I get you could get that from two girls together, because there's ways, but I don't know. The running joke is that she's the school whore, and then they throw that. It's not funny when you have another running joke you were doing with this character. Anyway, she was having sex and she accidentally pulled the tab that says "Do not pull." Whatever. Slab is next, and again, these jokes don't work because his joke is he can't read. But we still get a flashback, even though he doesn't know what the note said. So why would we have the flashback? It makes no sense. We still have a flashback, and now he's smart for some reason, and he's smoking a pipe. And look, the first one with Martina is the one that makes the most sense. All these are way too exaggerated. They hate the deer, and they'd say, okay, his thing is that he smoked his grandfather's ashes. Yeah, and they don't care about continuity because later we find out his parents are dead. Then who was yelling at him in the flashback? I'm sure they could have died within a year, but it's still... I don't know, and that's the thing. So, yeah. I forgot to mention that there is a confrontation between Dawson and Agatha because Agatha wrote a book that said Dawson did it because his parents were mysteriously killed in a fire, and she says that he did it, and the payoff to that is that it's a joke. The payoff to that is a joke, because they're all like, oh, hey, we got these notes, and they're like, except for Dawson, and he gets one in his hamburger, and then he has a flashback. He was the fucking deer. That's why I kept doing that. Yeah, he was, this, oh, Jesus Christ. He's in a deer suit by his drunk father is forcing him to lick a salt lick, and then he says, no, I'm out of here, pushes his dad down. His dad farts, which blows up the house. By the way, that's Slab's house, never mind. Blows up the house, or cabin, whatever, and then he's running on the road and gets hit as the deer. They had to connect him somehow. But let's do it so that it's a joke. He's the deer. I don't know. So now they're all targets for this killer. And we are halfway through this movie and nothing has really happened yet. Yeah. And despite the fact that nothing has happened and no one but Drew has been killed, they closed the school like in Scream. What? Oh, like I said, I'm not counting the ones. I mean, there's a funny joke where someone's just taking a dust mop and pushing the dead bodies aside. But, like, I don't count those because they're not major deaths. I don't even know if Dead Meat would count them if they did this. This could be a good April Fool's video, by the way. But all of the major character deaths happen at the party at the end of the movie type situation. Barbara is first. We start to reenact the Tatum kill. She gets stuck in the door, and the killer comes after her with a chainsaw, but then she pulls her breast implants out and is able to run away. And she dies from bee stings, getting all puffy, and because she's allergic. There were scenes where they're like Pennywise and It, where he's teasing them and like, you all float. Like, he doesn't say that, but like where he's just basically teasing them. He comes after them, but nothing happens. Yeah, so Barbara's dead. And then Boner takes a drunk chick upstairs and starts to get ready to go to town. But the killer shows up and he has a heart attack and temporarily dies because they give him the Dewey treatment. But at the end, we find out he's still alive, but because he took a whole bottle of Viagra, his blood was still pumping, and it saved his life. Which, by the way, if you took a whole bottle of Viagra, you would die. I'm pretty sure. But whatever. So he's dead. Everything starts with a chase that ends up with them dying for some other reason. Even the girl that he's trying to get with gets hit by some giant, what looks like a headstone from the. Is that supposed to be a nod to Halloween? I don't know. We get the rules of a parody, because they're all watching parodies like Airplane or Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, the good movies. And they start talking about the rules of a parody, which, honestly, that was something that I never thought about. That was something that was missing from Scary Movie, is the rules of a parody. I'm shorty. There's certain rules, son, to a parody movie. What are they? Shit, I don't know some, but I know they got some. They could just throw a joke out there, but no, Martina's listing out the rules, and then the killer shows up. Slab goes to answer the phone because it might be his accountant, and then he's caught doing steroids, even though he's not on the sports team, and he does so much. I think I did too much, and his head explodes. That's not how steroids work. His heart will explode before his head. I don't know. Can we get through this? So at this point, Dewey, Hagatha, the pizza guy, and the fat cameraman are all playing strip poker. They're supposed to be watching the party, but they're just doing this. So Dawson and Martina are now being chased by the killer, but they're able to subdue him. And now we're going to find out who's under the mask. No, we gotta do a gag where there's like 50 masks underneath, which makes no sense. They just keep doing it, and somehow they can hear the mask noise. The people ask, what was that? We gotta go. And it's revealed to be Dowie. He's evil twin cousin, Hardy, who was never mentioned, never seen before, and is just Tom Arnold with a fake marker mustache. Like, Dowie? You look just like him. Hello? Evil mustache. I'm just like... And Dowie's gonna let him go, but he gets shot accidentally by Hagatha, who was looking at using a gun to do her makeup. And then she runs off with the pizza guy. We're not done yet. Nope. They console Dowie, I guess. And now he's gonna go back to the mall, because I guess that's what it is. But then the killer's still alive, so Dowie shoots him a couple more times. But the killer's still alive, so he gets beaten with baseball bats. Boner's alive and has sex with a woman, or so he thinks. Find out later it's a transgender woman. So still technically a woman. I don't care what you people say. But if they got the surgery to turn themselves into a woman, they're a woman. Unless they want to be called they, them. But there's another killer now that calls Dawson, but he doesn't have cell phone service right. They're going to walk through the dark woods now. And it keeps saying the end, or is it, and the end, whatever. And now it says the end. Tell the after credits. And I'm like, you're kidding me. There's an after credits? There is. We find out that Dawson and Martina only lasted till prom. Womp womp. Barbara and Slab are still dead. Okay. Boner did marry the transgender woman. Dowie, I don't care. Dowie quit the force and is now some, I don't know. I don't care. They even talk about Coach Hasselhoff. I love Artie Lang, but his scenes, it felt like he didn't even care. He was collecting a paycheck. I don't know. This is not what I remember. I thought this was better. There was no seriousness. I know it's a parody, but you gotta have some kind of baseline story that you're doing. Every single thing in this movie was a joke. They didn't care about telling a cohesive story. Scary Movie, you can even say that some of those, this is worse than even some of those Seltzerberger ones. that come up. It have a bunch of different stuff. At least they have one story trail they're telling, right? Meet the Spartans. It's basically 300. You're following that story, but you got a bunch of stuff thrown in. Superhero movie. Basically Spider-Man, but you got a bunch of other stuff thrown in. They have one story that they're going to follow. They throw a bunch of stuff in. You know, disaster movie is basically Cloverfield mixed with the earthquake, or like the earthquake disaster movie type situation. A lot of stuff gets thrown at you, but at least you have that plot. This has the Scream plot mixed with I Know What You Did Last Summer, but they decided every line has to lead to a joke. Everything has to lead to a joke, and there's no seriousness to it, which a lot of the later Soderbergh ones are like that, but, you know, we'll talk about super fast when I get to it, but I don't know. This just didn't, you know. I just think this was underrated, by the way. I'm like, this is, no one talks about this one. It you know, it's because it's terrible. And it's not worth your time. That is my rating. Not worth your time. Watch Scary Movie. Watch any of the Soderbergh ones. Except for I forgot what the hell it's called. Super Fast. Super Fast. That we'll get. I'm gonna do the Soderbergh movies later this year, so. But yeah, no, watch any of those parodies. Watch a good one. Watch Airplane. They even do the whole, I don't call me Shirley, because they're watching parody movies. So what are your thoughts on Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th? Oh, and I guess the original title was like Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Halloween, or Scream If You Know What I Did Last Halloween. Miramax and Dimension said, no, you're not using that. So it's Shriek If I Know What I Did Last Halloween on Friday the 13th, which made no sense. So it just became Shriek If I Know What You Did Last Friday the 13th. But they kept the joke for that second title in the movie where Slab says it's Halloween and Friday the 13th. That doesn't make any sense. Slab's dyslexic. I'm like, okay, so that explains the other title, but you got rid of the Halloween on Friday the 13th title. So it's just Friday the 13th. Whatever. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.